haul the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for a div anarchy, and interface with a couch in space. It's space couch time once again, and that makes me very happy inside of my space heart. But first, we're going to do space advertising. New this week, it's Ligerhawk Records, ligerhawkrecords.bandcamp.com. You're going to want to check out Bitman's new release, Pure Chip. It's pure gold, I say. Collision of Spirits by Invictus. Great stuff as always. Then you want to check out Get Out by Tommy Tantrum. He's been out of like this crazy tear. I love it. Violator Elevator, the new single from 8-Bit Panda Strike. We signed a metal band. Check out Deadfalls, Almost Dead, and Gasoline Invertebrates. Rage Magus is out now. The Sun Sphere is in the background of that one, which makes a lot of sense for today's guest, but we'll get into that shortly. The other sponsor I want to check out, or I want you to check out, because I check them out a lot, is Super 7. You want to go to super7.com/Space Couch Show for the coolest toys in all the land. You know I'm always picking up stuff from them. Wanted to show off. It's like their own brand of they came out with this own line of just weird stuff, and this is a professional wrestling tiger that I really liked. And I normally take them out of the box, but I had to keep the packaging for this one because it's this giant pro wrestling tiger. I mean, what are you going to do? Not get it? So, now that advertising is out of the way, we have a very Tennessee-focused episode today, Space Couch. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Bushnell of Flyby Publishing. What's up? Thank you for coming to space.
Yep.
I have a base in Knoxville, and you're not too far away from me. I could have just probably walked over, but we decided to beam the signal up here to a flying couch in space for no reason. But very excited about that. So we used to call this opening feature Describe Your Vibe, but YouTube stole that. So now it's called Encapsulate What You Create. Fucking YouTube.
YouTube's always taking the good stuff.
Always, right? It's like I put a song up there. It's like, do you have rights? Like, yeah, I wrote the song. Okay. But
Getting copyrighted on your own stuff's pretty bad.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll get into that because you are one half, if that's the breakdown, of Flyby Publishing, who you've been going since 2022, but I recently discovered. So tell us about your wonderful company and comic books like Rogue that I have on today.
Our nefarious origins. Yeah, it could the way that we came about could go either the superhero route or the villain route.
Okay,
depending on the way you looked at it, but
like Punisher, what's like right in the line, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Joe and I, Joe's the other half of Flyby Publishing, and just to start out, the name Flyby is basically because we're flying by the seat of our pants. We like the whole comic book thing, like creating a comic book. Neither one of us had ever done that before, so we really were flying by the seat of our pants, just kind of making stuff up, figuring out how to get it done and get it printed and get how to get the artwork done. Because neither of us can draw, so we have somebody else who draws it for us that we found, but I'll get into that later. But the origins of us is kind of boring, but it also, again, could be a villain, could be a superhero origin. But Joe and I worked together at a very boring office job.
Okay.
That neither of us liked.
Right.
So during the office job, your mind is wandering and trying to do all kinds of stuff other than work. So we kind of we kind of threw around ideas and so that's basically where it started.
I love it.
I mean, the boring office job thing is just we trying to figure out something to do other than actual work.
You're just trying to survive to get through the day. Yeah, no, I've done that where it's like, if I was Spider-Man, I would like latch onto that building and swing to that, just like your crazy stuff. Well, I'm happy you did, because we have visual aids today, and it matches my wonderful shirt. I had to take the
Yeah, I got
sleeves off.
I've got
Oh
mine.
yeah, I
Yeah,
love it. I love it.
yeah.
We're all packing Flyby Publishing gear today. So we can start with this title that you were good enough to gift me at Mag Comic Expo. But it is a shadowy noir tale from the future. What can readers expect from your title Rogue?
Well, we originally had about a 7-book arc
Oh wow. Okay.
in mind, like 7 or 8 books, but just for cost purposes and and whatnot, we kind of narrowed it down to 4, but
Okay.
we may end up doing the 7 because we've actually completed the second book and have the cover done, and we're just waiting on it to be printed. And
Oh wow. Okay.
but the original second book was going to be about 30 pages long.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is split it in half and just make the first half of it be the second book, and the second half of it be the third book. So we're gonna so we actually have the second and third books done, and you know, for anybody that's not familiar with the first book, it's like you said, it's a futuristic detective story
Mm-hmm.
with kind of superheroes in the background, and
Okay.
the superheroes aren't very prevalent in the first book, but there's a dead rogue in the first book, and you kind of the main character, Detective Poole, which we like to throw in Easter eggs in there, and Detective Poole is one of them because we kind of named him after Deadpool,
Ha!
like,
I love it.
Detective
Deadpool.
Poole,
Yeah.
D-Pool. So we try to do that with a lot of things that we like. Like there's 2 characters in the book that are kind of cameramen for the news reporter lady, and that's supposed to be me and Joe.
Okay.
Just kind of the bumbling goofballs. So yeah, we wrote ourselves into there and just kind of making fun of ourselves. And usually, usually when they're in the comics, like one of them's wearing a Godzilla T-shirt, and the other's wearing something that that he likes. But
dig it.
But yeah, in the the first book is kind of just an introduction to Poole, and like at this point in the story, the rogues, like the superheroes in this world, have basically eradicated crime. Like big crime's not really a thing. It's just petty stuff, and there's these AI robot cops that have kind of taken their place and help the cops out and doing their jobs and whatnot. So, and then things start happening, like there's a big shootout and with some militants, and that kind of crime is just escalating and stuff, and you realize that something's going on, and Poole himself, he's at the center of it, and he's kind of got to figure out what's going on, and that's kind of where the first book.
Love it. I love it.
And yeah, and so the second book kind of goes off, continues that storyline, and it kind of it delves deeper into kind of Poole's past. Like the first, I think 7 pages of it are set in the past, kind of showing a younger Detective Poole, and what went on before, and what went on with his wife. You kind of learn what happened to her, and like why he's such a bitter asshole, basically, and why he hates everyone, and that kind of thing, and you learn more about who the actual should I say Emperor Palpatine of the story is, like the bad guy working in the background, kind of manipulating everything. And towards the end of the book, you kind of Poole kind of gets what's coming to him, and he gets kind of beat up and thrown out of the city, and that's kind of where the second and third books end.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm excited. Like, I mean, for a company supposedly flying by the seat of its pants, I was like, Damn. Okay, I'm ready for book two. I was like really into it.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What about it did you like?
That's
If it, coming from a creator standpoint, I want to hear. I want to hear what.
sure. I didn't. It was because it came out of nowhere. And so it's like, okay, I've got this Constantine looking dude on the front, and I don't know where this is going, like at all.
Mhm.
The art is right on a line of like indie grit, but not like a kid drew it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah,
And it builds the world really fast. Like by the last page, I'm like, okay, I'm in it. Like it's not like 10 pages of like Star Wars scrolling backlog and like things you got to remember the whole time. Like it's just the economy of motion on it. I thought was awesome. If I can use that and not sound like a complete
yeah.
jackass, but
Sounds too
so
pretentious.
that's what I would say. Sort of set it apart immediately for me, but it is not actually as great as that title is. You have some more to offer, including Will o' the Wisp and Zombie Savior.
Yeah.
Tell us about these.
Will the Wisp and Zombie Savior were two that Joe actually had done in college.
Okay. Oh,
So
cool.
he's had them done for a while, and
Hmm.
he's more of the like I love comic book stuff. I love comic book like
Hmm.
adjacent things, but
Right.
I as a younger adult I read a lot of comics, but as an adult I don't read them as much anymore. But Joe, uh, he's the bigger comic book person
Okay.
between the two of us. But he had these two done 20 years ago when he was in college, and he just kind of had them sitting around. And so we were like, he was telling me about them, and I was like, dude, let's just publish those things
Hell
because
yeah. Hell
you
yeah.
already got them, and we're if
We
we're
got
gonna
a
do it,
company, right? Let's do it.
yeah, let's have as much product as we can and
Very cool.
differentiate stuff. But Will o' the Wisp is basically a like folk tale, like horror folk tale that his
Cool.
grandma used to tell him.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so his he said his grandma used to tell him these stories about Will o' the Wisp and stuff, and kind of like an Appalachian horror folk
Love
tale.
it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, and the artwork on it, I forget who he had do the artwork. But the artwork, I really like the artwork on that one because
Hmm.
it's just spooky. I feel
Okay.
like um, it fits the vibe of the book. But and Zombie Savior is it might be sacrilegious to some people, but Zombie Savior is basically a retelling of the Passion of the Christ, but if Jesus was a zombie.
I love it. I love it.
And I
Yeah.
mean it's really short, but yeah, it's that's basically the vibe of
Hell
it. And
yeah.
I kind of I'm trying to convince Joe to do a sequel to it to where because I mean most people know the story of Jesus. Like
Right.
when he got when he got put in the tomb, he rose after the third day and
Right.
whatever. But I'm like, well, what if he's a zombie? Like he's just gonna be like dead. So what if we have him be a zombie and he wakes up like 2,000 years later in modern times and
Oh.
like a zombie Jesus is just walking around like what are all these people doing like kind of
Love
just kind of figuring out what's going on in
it.
like modern day kind of stuff. But
280,000 years later or whatever, that's the
yeah,
365 times 2,000 days later. The I love it. So check out at flybypub.com is where you can pick up Will o' the Wisp and the saga of Zombie Jesus. Um, Love it. We were talking before the show, and thank you again for coming all the way to space. Having just seen ICP last
oh
night,
yeah, whoop
and
whoop.
whoop whoop. Well, you do T-shirt design under the mantle of Jugga Love Clothing. Tell us about that.
Yeah, yeah, that's basically something that I started. That's all me. I
Uh,
started that just because I was making like shirt designs and stuff. based off of Insane Clown Posse stuff.
Right.
And mostly for myself to wear, but I was like, if I have the designs, I might as well put them on there, put them on
Okay.
Etsy or something to see if anybody else wants to buy them. And I mean, I sell, a few of them here and
Heck
there.
yeah. All right.
But it's mostly for myself. And
Okay.
I also I've been doing more kind of movie pop culture tie-in shirts, um, instead of the, which I still do a couple Insane Clown Posse shirts and whatever, here and there. But I've been trying to do more of the pop culture type shirts because we're going to FarleyCon, I think it's called, in
Cool.
Chattanooga in I think it's August 2nd and 3rd, and it's like a pop culture comic con.
Dig it.
So I wanted to have some shirts to take there and sell, and plus I'm a movie geek, so
Okay.
I love mishmashing and like finding like little things in movies that people who really like those movies will see it and be like, oh yeah, that,
Hell yeah.
I get that shirt kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's my jam. Space Couchketeers at home. You want to check out Juggalo Clothing. I found you on Instagram. Let me know if they
Yeah, yeah, that's
else.
that's really that's yeah, my Etsy store's on there, but Instagram's the main page. Yeah.
Dig it. For the finest in not only Juggalo gear, but kaiju and all sorts of pop culture goodness. Well, you're setting me up wonderfully for the next question because my buddy and I discovered you at Tennessee's own Mag Comic Expo. We went dressed as Aquaman and Pirate Deadpool because that's what you do, I guess.
Yeah, I
And
remember. I remember. Yeah.
that's where I picked up this cool shirt and all that. I was wondering, a lot of the people that watch this are creatives and do the con circuit. What do's and don'ts might you offer for people? Like, is it possible to bring too much product? Should you splurge for electricity? What would you tell our viewers?
I would say the biggest mistake that we made
Hmm.
because the first thing that we did was Fanboy,
Okay. Oh, right.
Fanboy Expo, and
Yeah.
Fanboy Expo is a pretty big deal, and we kind of overestimated the amount of things that we would sell,
Okay.
especially being somebody that nobody really knows.
Right.
I mean, and there's a lot of independent comic people that come there and whatnot. So that was probably the biggest thing, is because
Hmm.
I had printed up a ton of shirts,
Ton
and
of
and
okay.
and we had a lot of comic books printed, and I think we overshot a little bit, but
Okay.
yeah, which I mean, it didn't really matter in the long run, because I mean, having that product, I mean, one of those shirts is the one you got on right now. So
Oh yeah.
we just, if we didn't use it then, we take it to another con and whatnot, but just kind of keep your expectations in check a little
Totally.
bit,
Are you
because
doing FanboyCon again?
not this year.
Okay, okay. Just because
Not
it's
this
like
year.
across the street from where we're recording today. I mean,
Yeah,
no, we're in space, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
well, cool, man. W- we touched on this potentially a little bit before with having grand designs of 7 book arcs and then sort of getting mugged by reality. But I was curious as to what the biggest pain in the ass is in comic creation, in your opinion.
Phew. For us, probably getting the artwork done.
Okay, because you
Yeah,
gotta
because
farm it out.
yeah, we get. I don't know if you've ever used the website Fiverr.
Oh, sure,
Yeah, I love that. I
it's
love
great.
Fiverr.
It's
That's
amazing.
like, because I'm like a storyteller person. I'm a big vision person, but I have no artistic ability. Like, I can't draw for anything. So like Fiverr has helped me out a ton by getting people, good artists
Hmm.
and stuff to draw my t-shirts. I kind of tell them what I want,
Hmm.
sketch it out really bad on a on a notepad, and say, hey, make this thing. But We found a guy on there named I think his name on Fiverr is Virgo C,
Mm-hmm.
and he's done the work for the first book and now the second and third,
Very cool.
and we just started what will be the fourth book, which it's going to be more of a Western. The fourth book, we're kind of flipping the flavor on that one, because it's you'll once you read the third book, you'll know why, but it's in a different setting, and
Okay.
it's going to have more of a Western vibe.
Looking forward to it. Plus, it's cool to be like, yeah, I work with some dude in Bolivia, or like however the Fiverr artist thing shakes out. But
Yeah, I think he actually lives in like Venezuela or
right,
something.
right, it's
It's
cool.
not. Yeah, it's not. He doesn't live in America, but yeah, the doing the comic, getting the art done has probably been the biggest time consuming thing,
Okay.
because we have the story done, we have uh, the cover page doesn't really take that long, and once I have the pages, I put it together on InDesign,
Mm-hmm.
like Adobe InDesign is what
Sure.
I use to put the pages and stuff together. So that's really quick, as far as that goes. Once I have everything else, it's just getting the artwork back in a timely manner.
Very cool. And we'll go towards the positive. What have you found to be the most rewarding about comic creation?
Just seeing your story fully realized, man.
Yeah, that's got to be
The
cool.
like see having something in your head, and then
Mm-hmm.
it evolves as you're writing it down, and then as you go through and edit the studio, like that doesn't really. I'm one of those people that likes to have a story make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of movies and whatnot nowadays, the writing is like, why did that happen? That doesn't, it just something
There's
happens
no
out of
reason for
nowhere.
the guy to go into the building or whatever it is.
Yeah, or yeah, it's just like to move the story along, and so
Right.
I like to look at things and be like, well, that does that make sense? Like, would he really react that way, kind of thing? So me and Joe nitpick a lot with
Okay.
the
Oh, okay.
story. Yeah, with the story when we're writing. So but just seeing the thing go from your mind to the page, and then the edit, and then when you get those pages back and see like the artwork and stuff, and you're like, hell yeah, like
Yeah.
that's exactly what I wanted.
That's
There's
cool.
there's one particular in this in this next book, the second book. There's one particular scene that, and I'm just going to be blatant. I completely stole it from the 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie,
Oh,
but it
I
but it's
saw it in the
more.
theater.
Yeah, but it's more of an homage to that than
Okay.
than stealing. Like, there's a couple pages in the book where the reporter lady, her name's Sep O'Neill, like April O'Neill,
Yes.
but her real name's September instead of April. So,
I see what
but
you did there.
yeah, but she's carrying some files that are kind of important to the story. She's carrying some files into a subway, kind of like April O'Neil in the
Yeah.
1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when April goes into the subway and the Foot Clan attack her, and Raph comes running up and like
Right.
beats the crap out of the Foot Clan. Like, there's a similar sequence in the second book there, and that's one of the pages where I was like, hell yeah, that's like, because I told
Hell
him to
yeah.
be as I told him to be as violent as he could, and make it as like gory as he
Uh-huh.
could, and because I wanted these books, like, the first book's kind of tame as far as that kind of stuff goes, but as its series goes on, there's going to be
Mm.
more superhero interaction and just actiony stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one of the pages that I wanted him to.
Okay. Yeah. I love it when you're like, I really want this one thing, and it turns out,
Yeah, he really did a good job on it.
very cool. Well, everybody at home on there on space, they're on Earth, on Earth. I meant to say, I got ahead of myself. Checked out our Rogue Book 2 coming out shortly.
Yeah,
Um,
it should be. Our plan is to have it by FarleyCon, so August 2nd
oh,
and 3rd, and then
fantastic.
the third book will probably be out probably October. We just have to get a cover drawn for it.
Very well, awesome. Yeah, so if you at home are going to be at FarleyCon in Chattanooga, definitely stop by the Flyby booth, do a flyby, if you will. So now it's time for everybody's favorite feature, Radiation Round. Called that because
Ooh.
lightning is exceedingly rare in space. Say whatever you want, no wrong answers. Okay, question one. Griffin, Pegasus, Cyclops, or Manticore?
Oh, I thought about this one. I'm going to go with Manticore.
Manticore.
The lion with the scorpion tail is badass.
That is pretty badass. That is, I can't argue against that, nor would I. Question number two: who do you main in Mario Kart?
Now, it's probably going to show my age, but I haven't really played Mario Kart that much recently. But back in the day, the Super Nintendo Mario Kart and the Mario Kart 64,
it's the best one.
Those two. I was either Toad or Bowser.
Toad or Bowser.
Perfect. Is who I would.
Yeah, I spent way too much time getting my ass kicked by my buddy in Mario 64. And finally, which Marvel or DC or other hero do you think would make an interesting team up with our detective pool from Rogue?
Yeah, me and Joe were kind of talking about that too,
Okay.
and I'm gonna, and it's kind of his monarch, or I'm gonna go with Deadpool just because Pool himself is very angry and just hates everyone. He doesn't like. He's kind of like Wolverine in that fact.
Okay.
Like he doesn't like to for people to be obnoxious and stuff around him or whatever. He just wants to be kind of left alone to do his own thing. And
love it.
And I feel like Deadpool, it would be a lot of good banter between him and Deadpool because Deadpool would be running his mouth and
right.
Detective Pool would just be like wanting to choke him out the whole time. Like, but also I feel like they'd be a good match because they both really are rogues.
Okay.
In a sense, because that's the whole sense of the comic is rogue. Detective Pool is a rogue himself in the sense that he doesn't follow the rules and he does what he wants, kind of thing. And I feel like that's what Deadpool.
Gotcha. Yeah. No. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So from the top, that was Manticore, Bowser, Toad, and Deadpool. So we'll move on to everybody's second favorite hypothetical spectacle, where we just come up with like a weird hypothetical situation, like Rogue, the '80s sitcom, or something like that. But as we do this one all the time. But I'm particularly curious of what would Rogue, the video game, be like? Would we go like Nintendo Shadowgate, like where you get a bunch of items and use them on stuff, or do we just get wild and do a dating sim with the most eligible bachelors of 2177? Where do you see the Rogue video game going?
I mean, a dating sim with Detective Pool would be. I don't know how eligible of a bachelor he is.
Okay, well that's the game. Like if you actually get him a date, you lose points, right? But,
yeah. I don't know. I mean, a kart racer would be kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Like Deadpool's one of the characters, and like one of the AI cops is a selectable. Okay.
Yeah, because there are like this. Like I said, the actual rogues and the superheroes in the story are called rogues. So, you could have all the different rogues as cart people and. Each one of them has their own set of powers. So it'd be fun. It'd be kind of like Road Rash. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, where you're actually like trying to like beat the crap out of each other. So
I was not expecting Road Rash, but that is a good pull, man.
Yeah.
Flashing back. All right, so I know we have a non-zero amount of video game developers that watch Space Couch here, so get in contact with our guest for the impending either Road Rash like game or that dating sim. You never know. It takes all kinds, right?
Yeah.
So, Matt, the next question or the final question I should say that I had here was, what's next for the mighty Flyby Publishing? But we kind of got into it already. So we have Rogue Two about to be unleashed onto an unsuspecting populace. Well, unless they watch this show, then they know. And Rogue Three slated for this year yet, right?
Yeah, tentatively October.
Very
So
cool. Tell us. I'm curious as to how FarleyCon is gonna be. That's in the great city of Chattanooga, and yeah. Anything else you want to toss out to our viewers tonight?
we're trying to get into. We've submitted our application to be in the Chattanooga Comic Con, but
Ooh,
we haven't heard back from them.
all
So
right.
it's I believe it's like September 27th and 28th,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's a Saturday and a Sunday. But yeah, we're trying to get into that. FarleyCon, obviously August 2nd and 3rd. It's kind of southeast of
Okay.
Chattanooga, so a couple hours away from Knoxville. But
Okay.
yeah, but that should be fun. And we've got a couple stories that we're kind of working on, as far as
Yeah.
other comics. So one of them is an idea that I had, and it's kind of like an exorcist horror comic. Like
Okay.
um,
Hell
I
yeah.
don't know I don't know how much people watch or are history buffs or whatever, but I watch that Ancient Alien show all the time.
Yeah.
And there was an episode where they were talking about King Solomon
Okay.
and like ancient alien powers and that kind of stuff, or ancient alien weapons
Mm-hmm.
that people have. And one of them was a ring that King Solomon wore that could control demons. So
Oh.
and like in my mind, I was listening to it while I was working. So in my mind, like I heard that and I was like, that'd be like a really cool a thing to use in a comic, for maybe like an exorcist who does exorcisms, and then he absorbs like the demon's powers or something into the ring and can like use um, the ring to fight whatever demon comes next or to exorcise whatever demon
Oh
comes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Very cool.
kind of in the beginning stages of what can this be, or what can we do with it, but
Love it.
that, but that's one idea we're throwing around, and then another one is it was Joe's idea, um, which we kind of both of us are kind of music people, and we thought about having a comic book kind of hero, maybe a teenager kid or something that somehow gets his powers from a spooky Walkman or a possessed Walkman,
Hell yeah. I
like
love it.
and whatever music's playing, like as long as he's listening to music, his power, he has his
Okay.
powers and stuff. um and maybe depending on the kind of music that he listens to depends
Okay.
on what power he gets. So um so if he's listening to Prince, he might be having one power, but if he's listening, throwing in some Metallica or some metal or something, you know
If
he he's got a whole nother set of powers, kind of thing. But
that's that's good stuff. That's good stuff. I want Prince powers. That's all I got here. So what did we learn today on Space Couch? Our guest and his writing partner developed that from trying to make work go faster, which is hilarious to me because like work kicked my ass today. And Rogue is out now. Not only that, Will o' the Wisp and Zombie Savior. Juggle of Clothing on Instagram is where you want to go. Don't bring too much product to your first con.
mm,
Um, it's awesome to see your ideas realized in physical paper. That's cool.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
Manticores are badass, and I think that's just going to be the subtitle for this show: is Manticores are badass. Uh, Toad and Bowser. We got pools in stereo. We could call the book "Deep End of the Pool." I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. And all sorts of video games in the pike, but you want to check out FarleyCon in the immediate future. So, unless you want to drop any Jerry Springer final thoughts, we can just close out of here, man.
Just thanks for having me on, and everybody check us out on Instagram. Instagram is probably the best place
Okay,
to
cool.
check us out. But
I screwed up. Yeah, flybypub.com and look for Flybypub on. It's Flybypub, right? On
yeah.
cool. On
Fly by
Instagram.
Pub.
Cool. So this is Matt for Flyby Publishing, for Brian for Space Couch, saying call the spaceship to the port. Prepare for the and interface with the couch in space. Space Couch. Out. Oh, dude. Okay, so let me start the ending credits run here, but that was really fun for me. Thank you. I